Swing it, boys, swing for the fence. Shove it, boys, make 'em miss. Some big league chew in a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Blitz, Bama, Blitz.
Welcome, everybody. Once again, the Weekly Joe podcast. It is our final regular season Weekly Joe. After a 14-week run, we are 30 games into SEC play. We are on the eve of the SEC tournament in Hoover, and we are about a week away from finding out Alabama baseball's fate in the NCAA tournament regionals and where that's going to lay out. And tonight here we have got Roger Myers coming to us from Tuscaloosa from home base, Drew Champlin from the site of the SEC tournament, Hoover, Griffin Smith from our Texas bureau, and you have me. I am on the road this week. I am at commissioning week ceremonies at the United States Naval Academy, fresh off the superintendent's reception. As you can tell here, but left there and went and had wings and beer just to get myself in the right frame of mind for talking about Alabama baseball. Be here all week. I'm in Annapolis, Maryland. Beautiful here. The weather's incredible. I'm sitting out by the pool. You don't have that on the back screen here, but in someone's house who I rented for the week. So thanks to them. Doesn't matter who. But here we are. We're back at commissioning.
Hey,
week.
Paul.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell our listeners why you're there?
Well, I'm here. Yeah. Commissioning week. My son, Sam, is our 2025 commissioning as a Marine pilot in the from the Academy. Is actually going to spend the next year here is in DC. As a matter of fact, he's here actually right now taking a final for the master's program through the University of Maryland that they're putting him through, and then he'll go to naval officer. They call it the basic school, TBS, in Quantico probably next March. Be there 6 months, and then down to Pensacola and flying for our U.S. Marine Corps. He'd like to fly the F-35 is what he says he wants to do, but they can fly C-130s or Ospreys or any kind of fixed wing type crap. But he wants to fly the F-35 is what he says. So anyway, we're here for our second go round at the Academy for commissioning week. So really excited about that. Week full of festivities, culminated by the commencement ceremonies on Friday. The vice president is here giving the speech. The speech. The Blue Angels are here Wednesday. We just hope the weather holds up because it's beautiful today, but I think we got rain in the forecast this week. But yeah, that's why we're here. And you could get me talking about the Naval Academy and all for hours. So I'll go off on a tangent on that. But glad to be here and having a great time already. Anyway, we got the gang here. I think we got a lot to talk about. We'll start with the happenings of the weekend. Again, another Thursday to Saturday series down at the University of Florida. Really intriguing weekend of SEC baseball because there was so much at stake. It's one of those things. It's almost like you get into the NFL in that last weekend or two of the season, and there's so much scoreboard watching. Or you get the intrigue of that last Sunday afternoon, and the 3:00 window games are going on, and they've all got playoff implications the way they stage it. Felt a little bit about like that this weekend, right, Drew? Just with so many meaningful games going on.
Yeah, I kept watching scores to see, you hate to root for other teams to have to help you out, but that's kind of what you're looking at as well because we went 1-2. Really thought Auburn. You really needed Auburn to go 2-1 instead of going 1-2, and then if that had happened, Alabama would have been, I believe, the 8th seed and had a first round bye to Wednesday. So, Alabama not taking care of their own business was the biggest part of the reason that we are the 9 seed. But our rivals didn't help us out there. Arkansas helped us out, but our Auburn did not.
Right.
Or Tennessee helped us out by losing.
Tennessee kind of laid an egg after really looking good on Thursday night. Roger, you were down at Gainesville. Thoughts in general on the weekend? Kind of one of those, we let one get away in one, and then we laid an egg.
Yes, exactly that. Just felt really good early on Thursday. Looked like we were going to be able to take it. But we got to that point where we scored our runs and
Yeah.
this and stop
And that was it.
hitting. Yeah,
It was
that was it.
Yep.
And did squeak one across because of Hodo's little pop-up double, which was only hit from the third inning nine that we had.
Right. Right.
Really, the best thing, Florida's, I've been in their newer stadium this at least the second time,
Right.
and it's just so much better than their old one. But it's really nice. And of all the places we visit, we have the best visiting seats of anywhere because of that. They have those burns on both ends.
Oh yeah.
So our outfield seats are really basically right beside the visitors' dugout.
Yeah.
We're not too far down the line. You have a good sight line of vision, and they really did a good job on the stadium. It's one of the open ones where the concession stands and the restrooms, you don't have to go out of sight.
You see everything. Yeah.
You can still
Mississippi
see
State, the dude's a lot like that.
Right. South Carolina's the same way.
Yeah.
And I told you guys that one of our former young ladies that helped run Crimson Tide Hospitality is in charge of the Florida premium area.
Yeah.
And she saw me on Friday night and invited me to come by and get a wristband and go up and at least visit their area, which was nice. But it's basically a covered patio, and they serve cheese trays and hot dogs and soft drinks. I mean, she told me I would not be impressed by it compared to what Alabama has, but it was nice. It was a nice area.
Yeah.
And, it was a good view of everything. So, it was very nice of her. It was the Tessa Seidel, who we always accused of being Tommy's cousin, but
yeah.
she spells her name differently though.
Right. The hot dogs in the cheese tray, everybody catering to Florida, man. That's probably something
easy,
big for him.
Easy food they can slide in their jorts and while they're doing
right.
Florida man stuff.
You could fit them. You can fit a lot of that stuff in cargo shorts and all this.
That's right.
Yeah. Griff, just some general thoughts on the weekend before we start breaking down these games a little bit.
I mean, and unfortunately, it's a lot of what we'd seen the past few weeks. It's lack of patience at the plate. Really hoped we would have gotten some more runs to come across. And I thought after we had the start we did to game one, it's we'd maybe buck the trend of keep piling it on in those later innings, and not really breaking through there was tough. But it never felt like we were completely out of it until a certain point yesterday when I felt like we were maybe mentally prepared to just pack it up and rest until Tuesday. But to Drew's point, it's we're sitting here as a 9 seed, and obviously there's a bunch of games throughout the season that's you look back and it's like we should have won one of those games against State, and
exactly
a lot of those nitpicky things now that I'm totally like I said nitpicking, but if again you told us we'd have 40 wins, we'd have 16 wins in the conference heading into Hoover. I mean, I think almost any fan would take that. That was there's still a lot of positives to take from it. Obviously, you've got
absolutely
bright spots. Cade's been hitting well season long. LeBron's still doing LeBron things, so it's not nothing's dampening the mood for me heading into Hoover.
Drew, the Florida team situation, just with the lack of position players, and then one guy, their catcher gets shatters a forearm or breaks a forearm on getting a hip pitch. I mean, they're basically playing with 9 position guys. You heard it repeatedly on the broadcast about the dude that was red shirting, and all of a sudden has to go get his equipment and go. I mean, have you ever seen as ragtag a bunch of group like that pull off what they did on that weekend, making 9 errors and still winning 2 out of 3 in an SEC series?
Yeah, the thing about their bats is that they have like more depth than a lot of teams. Like if we had, so they were without Colby Shelton, Cade Curlin, Luke Heyman, their catcher, 13 or whatever home runs, really good batting average, breaks his wrist on the first at bat of the game, or first at bat of their weekend. This weekend, I'm sure they're missing another guy or two, but man, a lot of depth. Curlin. So they had 9 threats throughout the lineup. They were all tough outs, and they had some guys who could hit a long way. But the problem was we struck out too many times, and we didn't put enough pressure, especially on their third baseman, to make some plays. That's why I wasn't mad at all to see LeBron try to drop a bunt. It
No.
had its intended effect because their catcher fired it into right field for whatever reason. Why he was throwing it over there, I don't know. But when I look at this season, it's kind of a microcosm of those first two games, especially on the weekend. But the first half of the third one, we were still struck out too many times. You can say what you want about the pitching and any changes, but if we strike out 35 fewer times and just put the ball in play, and you assume they could be 35 outs, but if they're like a ground out, something probably would have happened to where we win a game or two or something like that.
Exactly.
Just productive ground outs or something like that. So just too many strikeouts.
And poor third baseman made 5 errors. And,
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Freshman from Canada, and Bozer, the guy who was playing shortstop because Colby's hurt, is the regular third baseman. He booted one. At short too.
Yeah.
Baseman. But it was strike out 36 times. If you put it in play 12, just cut that to 24, 8 again.
They might get 2 or 3 more errors.
Put it in play 12 more times. Something good could happen.
Probably could have tried to drop more bunts. I think.
Right. I think
there's so much practice and reps that go into bunt defense and things, just things like that where you put pressure on guys. And damn well that group has not practiced that stuff. I mean, you don't have that. I mean, it was a little frustrating.
Well, they had to replace the second baseman and the first baseman. During the weekend, they've already replaced the shortstop. You have 4 totally new infield.
Well, there was
guys
a play
in different places.
In the first game, I think, when we got a couple guys on and Mizell was up and he showed bunt. I don't think he ever had any intention of bunting, or maybe they took it off or something. But you kind of wonder, should you have John Young Jr. can bunt,
very well.
Could you have pinch hit him there to try to move the guys over?
Just get him. Yeah.
Because I want to say it was no outs at the time. So, then you never know. I mean,
there was no outs.
Yeah. So
Hodo's double and Torres walked.
Yeah. So he strikes out, and then I think the next 2 guys maybe strike out. I can't really remember, but
Mizell struck out. Staten struck out. Plattner got on an error by the third baseman.
Error, yeah.
So we scored. We did. We didn't score that.
Yeah, we did. Hodo scored, and then Fowler struck out.
Okay, so
struck out 10.
Too many. Maybe something happens there to where. All right, so if that position in the order is able to get a bunt down and it's not a strikeout, who knows? Maybe the third baseman's charging in and fires it into right field. So just one of those.
Which he did often.
We got to make more contact. I mean, there was a sloppy series. I thought they gave us a lot, and we took advantage of some, especially on Friday, but just not enough. So, just put it in play, and we can maybe figure some stuff out.
Simple stuff.
Somebody that was watching, tell me on the play yesterday, on Richie's play at third, how was that a foul ball?
They said
it was right in front. It was right in front of me, like 20
Paul was driving. Paul was driving and watching.
Yeah, I was watching. I was driving.
Griff, I don't know if you were able to watch. Were you refereeing?
As I'm talking on you, I went back and I saw the replay. I didn't.
They said that it crossed the line before it went foul. So apparently it crossed into foul too. That's what they said. They didn't really give a great view, but apparently if it crosses before it crosses third base, they can't review that. If it had been past third base, they can review it. So there were a couple plays in that game yesterday that, like was it when Riley? Wait, was it Zane or Riley got the pitch off like at 1 second? I can't remember my games now. And they made him like do over, and then they got a do over hit.
Riley, it was Riley.
Okay, so we won that game. Not worried about that anymore. But that was a tough break for us because Richie struck out, I think, on a ball that was about 2 inches off the zone or something crazy like that. So I wasn't very pleased with the umpiring the last 2 days. I thought the first guy we had was really good. He called strikes that were strikes.
He was the best one we had all season.
Yeah, we had, it felt like there were times, even yesterday. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about what happened Thursday, and then we kind of handled our business on Friday. Even yesterday, there was a situation, and y'all help me remind me because, again, I was driving. Richie comes up with 1 out, and I think we got second and third, or his bases loaded, and and just, gets a ball he could probably elevate and just, he tops it and he grounds out. And I think they I mean, it's just
bases loaded, one out at the time.
Yeah. Just situations like that where it's like, if there's as much as we strike out, there's always going to be a situation like that where it's like, okay, Richie's got to elevate this ball because the guy behind he's probably going to strike out, or hypothetical down the lineup. It's like, it feels like if you're going to strike out 36 times, that's, and you got 81 outs in a weekend. I mean, you're striking out half the time.
Feel like he hit that pretty hard. He just kind of went right to him. Roger, I can't remember if you got a better look at that, but I think
and the guy actually made the play.
He did. Yeah,
the play and the throw.
I wish he had tried to turn a 5-4-3 and thrown it into right field, but
in the new first baseman that came in who hadn't played first base, he ended up he raked in
the third game.
Right, and he made several scoops on other balls that they threw in the dirt. I mean, and he was a shorter version of a first baseman too.
Right. So let's go back to Friday because again, we kind of go back to what we were talking about. We're a 16-win team. That's great. Hey, wonderful. We won 16 games. You can always go back and say, oh man, we could have won this and we could have won that one. You can always look at a couple of those 16 wins and say, man, we got by the skin of our teeth on that. I didn't feel like there were too many of those this year. Maybe the Friday night Tennessee game, Bryce has to jump the wall and catch make a catch to rob a home run, but we didn't feel like there were way too many of those. If we won, it was normally a pretty, I don't have our one run record in front of us, but this game one and the Vanderbilt game 3, I guess, when you look back on this season, you say, what's the difference in being good versus great? It's just that narrow, right, Griffin, in the SEC, 16 to 18 wins is that narrow.
Yeah, I think a game 3 against Auburn was a game that I felt like we had a shot to be in, especially game 2 at LSU. That was a one-run game. We played something to the top of the ninth, and I'm thinking, we have a chance to make some damage, go in there and even the series. Thankfully, we took a game on Sunday, but it's those one-run games that probably keeps Rob up at night thinking, man, we'll just do a few things different and.
Just that
16 could turn into 18 wins, and then this whole RPI conversation about hosting is probably out the window.
Right. It's amazing how narrow it is. I mean, because you're at 16 and you got some people saying, yeah, you're still okay to host. And then you got others saying, well, you probably blew it because you needed one more win. And then you got those 2 in these last 3 weekends of the year that were just kind of to me, probably, I mean, again, what happened at Vanderbilt on that Sunday was more devastating than this one. This one was more frustrating, I felt like. Drew, your thoughts?
Yeah, so there were 3 games, I believe, this year that we had 5 runs leads in that we lost, and I would rank them as from the worst to the not as worst. The toughest one was the Vanderbilt one. Yeah. This one was tough because we kind of had just what should have been a getting out of the inning of 5-1. Uh-oh.
Yep. Hold on a minute.
Can y'all see me?
Yeah.
You're moving on my screen.
Okay.
Maybe I got you. Paul was frozen for a second.
I was frozen. Okay. Yeah. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought it was my bad. I've had issues here. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. It's a play. I know Staten probably makes 99 out of 100 times. It just didn't make it there. And so, and it went by him into the outfield and then just kind of fell apart after that. Fay would have gotten out of the inning. He hasn't been able to really get past 5. And then I thought JJ, I would have probably let him go one more batter, but maybe the wheels are starting to fall off. And Myers hung an 0-2 slider that they got a hit. He couldn't get anybody out after that. The next day he was good, but it just fell apart. And then Blackwood leads up the fastball to Done, and he crushes it. So still had our chances even with the error, but really tough. And then LSU, when we had that 5-run lead, I mean, that's another one that was frustrating, but they just made some quality swings there. That wasn't as frustrating as these 2. I didn't feel like we just gave that away. I thought they earned that one.
Right. This one, again, we jump out to we're 5-0 lead let me get everything here. I had to get a little closer to the internet hub here because it was getting a little unstable. We're a 5-0 lead after the third inning. And we get one hit the rest of the way. We go like 1 for 24, I think, or 1 for 21, and And even with a couple of errors, we still couldn't do anything but scratch one run across in the sixth. And meantime, they're just chipping away, and you just kind of felt it coming, didn't you? I mean, and then that long ball in the seventh. I mean, it just didn't feel like we were going to scratch anything across.
Yeah, in the fifth, after those first two outs and then that little ground ball.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, it felt like they were like it felt the same way at Vanderbilt in the eighth inning. It felt like they were like mailing it in. We're done. We're going to play out the string. And Sully left Peterson out there to kind of wear it. And the dude just kept going and and throwing up zeros. And because it was kind of like, this Thursday, our first game, we can't be burning the bullpen if we're going to get 10-0. And then they just did enough, and we've helped them enough just for them to get back in it. And then the momentum flipped, and they were on a roll.
Right. Frustrating about this team. I mean, Roger, quote me what you told us. What would we hit for the weekend? Under 200.
176, 18 for 102.
18 for 102. We had 6 hits a game.
6 for 34 in each game.
Yep. 6 in each game. Yes. I mean, just frustrating. Tough to win SEC way, but this team has kind of had this uncanny ability to somehow make it happen, even on nights like that. Right? It's just kind of I don't know. We seem to find a way.
Yeah, I would attribute it to just the overall kind of mentality of the team is that, Rob has instilled in them, just keep hitting, it'll work itself out. And I mean, look at all of our season. Yeah, we've got 4 series wins, but thankfully we haven't been swept the other way. So it's been the resiliency is definitely shown through on the team.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving into a different spot here so I can get it.
Oh, you're walking.
It's like you're on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's we've had some pretty big 3-run home runs, 3-run doubles and stuff like that. So, like Brady Neal's 2-out 3-run double on a 2-0 pitch when their guy had not been throwing strikes, but he left him up 1 in the zone on Friday night, game 2. That obviously we needed that at the end when they made their furious comeback. But had a few of those, you get the 2-run home runs that put us up 5-0. And so, Snell, I believe, had a 3-run home run against Georgia. Or maybe I'm thinking the 3-run double. So we've had a few of those throughout the year in some of these wins and even some of the losses too. But, that happens.
But, if you just looked at numbers, particularly SEC numbers, how in the world does team win 16 SEC?
16, exactly.
I mean, the hitting numbers are down, the pitching numbers are up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
but the pitching. But I mean, even at that, the pitching. We're not. I mean, if you team ERA, that type of thing. I mean, we're not. I mean, are we a top 10 or 12 staff in the league? Maybe. I mean,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're hitting 240, but you're the second or third best pitching team in the league.
Right.
I
I attribute a lot of it to what you have at shortstop, in the center field and right field.
Yeah, solid up the middle. Definitely solid up the middle.
I mean, the second's been shaky at times, with a lot of different
guys
moving pieces, and Cade's been solid. Doesn't have obviously near the range that the other two guys do, but they make up. I mean, goodness, how many hits has Fowler robbed, and how many balls is Richie run down in the gaps?
Right.
And Will's improved at first base, made a lot more plays, and Brady's been good behind the plate. Plattner's solid behind the plate. So the defense overall has been good, really good, and like Drew said, timely hitting, some big home runs. We hadn't walked much.
No, really hadn't.
12 times this weekend, which that's 4 a game. That's probably more than we've averaged in the SEC. Because
hadn't stolen a lot of bases. We have been a very good running team. We thought we would be. We really thought we would be.
And the percentages are really, really good. I mean, Brian was 16 for 17. I think Bryce is 13 for 15, and Richie was 15 for 16. I mean, they just did not run in the SEC.
Right. All right. So here's something. Yeah, I think we need to address this. We got quote fans on our Twitter page accounts that are that every time we lose a game, we're going to, blast the pitching staff, blast the pitching coaches and whatever. Hey, I'll give them hell when we make a bad decision. We've done that. We've done that here, actually. I mean, on a couple of occasions, but not to the extent where it's knee jerk, I think. What do you think of the reaction from the Thursday night game from some of the fans that pointing to the pitching staff when, like we've reiterated here again and again, we had a 5-0. We had a lead in the first 3 innings, and we got one hit the rest of the way. I mean, it's like,
right.
Are people watching the same damn game we're watching? I mean, it's like, do you not realize this team's biggest issue is it is not a great hitting team?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's, I think, go ahead, Drew.
If you asked any of those guys, name our 3 assistant coaches, the only one they can name is Jason Jackson and Mike Morrison, because Morrison gets a little more attention on his first base coach.
Exactly.
So I guess we're going to have to fire if we're going to have to fire Jason Jackson, we need to fire Anthony Papio because he's striking out so many times at the plate.
Right.
So, I've had my questions and qualms with certain things, but like Roger said, these guys aren't the shift, especially. I hate the shift. Roger said, these guys are not trying to lose these games for us. They're doing what they think is gonna. They're putting the lineup they think will win.
And we're gonna have we're gonna disagree with it was 55 game season. I mean, you're gonna not everything is gonna go according to plan, but I mean, they follow a formula generally, right? I mean, Friday and Thursday night when you kind of see Faye starting to fade, and we've seen him fade, and when he fades, sometimes he fades quickly. You see him start to fade. You go to probably your best reliever short of the fireman of the year in the SEC, and you bring him in. What's wrong with that? I mean, he just couldn't.
And first bad outing Braylon's had. And he threw 9 pitches.
9 pitches. He gave up, 3 hits, or walked a guy and gave up 2 hits, or whatever the hell it was. I mean, 3 guys, and they all got on. That's not a coaching decision. That's just, hey, Braylon had a bad night, and you're going to have that over 50.
And the second hit was like ground ball behind the bag that Poppy makes the play, and just couldn't get the guy at first. It's the double. I think Drew said the pitch was up. Yeah, that was bad, the walk.
Right.
But, given different opportunities to work out of that, but, that allowed him to be able to come back quicker the next day, he was huge on Friday.
And he shoved on. Basically, we don't win that series without the effort he had on what day?
The second
we don't get a win.
Yeah. Griff, your thoughts? I mean, to me, it's the pitching is okay. You got 2. I mean, you got a premium SEC starter in Riley. You got a guy in Zane who's been a premium SEC starter for about half the year because he had a couple. This outing was not good, and he had the 2 really bad ones. But other than that, I mean, he's been a pretty solid. I mean, you know what you're getting with him. I think if you went up and down the SEC rosters and you say, okay, how'd your 3 guys do this weekend? I mean, you're not going to find many who most weekends are getting 2 really good outings like we're typically getting out of Riley and Zane. And then Faye comes in as a reliever and is, to me, performed pretty damn admirably considering you're asking him, hey, go get us 4 innings. If you can get us 5, great. If not, we don't figure it out. I mean, Griffin, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would agree. It's, the top end guys we've got, I trust. I mean, but you look at, the rest of the conference, Kyson Witherspoon at Oklahoma, Liam Doyle at Tennessee, Kate Anderson at LSU. And then there's, in my mind, there's not a lot of that next tier that are ready to get up to that next level to hold up that staff for the rest of the weekend. So it's, I'm just, the folks that keep complaining about it, I'm just, I think we're all in agreement. I'm kind of just ready to, I'm just done hearing it. I'm like, guys, if you think you're better, then sure, go for it. But I trust the guys on staff. They've gotten us this far, and they're not going anywhere, whether you guys like it or not. So I trust them.
One valid question or criticism that they have is probably why isn't Riley quick pitching to open the series? And we've addressed that before. I thought they probably could have done it this weekend if they wanted to, but and then if we make it to Wednesday and he's pitching Wednesday, then I will basically be wondering, well, why didn't we do this earlier? Because
Yeah, right.
you're bumping him up 2 days or
2
whatever.
days.
So
Mhm.
I think that's a legit concern or a legit question. But it Thursday games and all that, and every time Faye is pitched through, if you watch all these
Mhm.
starts through 4 innings, he pulled them out early in the LSU and Mississippi State games because of the rest. If you watch him through 4, you think he's going to go 7 or 8, and then it just kind
Yeah.
of has fallen apart. I think mostly not due to him, especially last week, not due to him.
Right.
So he's giving you 4 1/3 in a starting position. He wasn't going to give you that in the pen because he had been struggling a little bit there. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just kind of a deal where it is what it is now. We'll have to see what they do Tuesday against Missouri, and really, especially curious to see what happens in a regional, especially if we are not hosting.
Exactly.
Do you start Riley game 1 or what? But yeah, that's probably I don't want to question the intelligence of anyone, but that's probably a good question to ask.
Roger, thoughts on it?
What, the rotation part or the?
Yeah, just that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I admire the fact that they have not, I wouldn't say baby, but taken care of Riley.
Yeah.
I mean, he came back so quickly.
Mhm.
And I mean, they had to restrain him from going all out
Oh yeah.
in the fall. I mean, he's like, you're going 75, 50%. He's wanting to go 90%. I mean, and it's just like, he's just that kind of guy. And, for his long-term future, you definitely appreciate that they have taken it easy with him. But I mean, he's probably to the point now. I mean, he's just what,
15 months,
14, 15 months, 15 months out. If that, it was February, late February of last year. And, and he's shown that it seems that he's gotten stronger, once he got over the blister thing. It was scary the other night when the whole medical staff converged on the mound. And he was shaking his hand, and I went, you start shaking that hand, that's usually because you can't feel your fingers. And but his dad was sitting beside me. He goes, he's cramping. And
that was funny. I need to show how, because we're texting with you in our group. You're a minute ahead of us because we're watching the stream, and you're like, RQ is down. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
And so
we got a lot of like, oh shit tweets.
So when it brings it back to the stream, like he's still throwing warm-ups. Well, they throw it down, and he goes down like he had been shot in the arm. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know about you guys, but it was. But then they showed his face, and he was laughing and stuff. Well, he's not hurt bad. And then, so thankfully, and then he struck out all 3 guys, or 3 guys in that inning.
Yeah, he gave up a single too, and he was at 84 and 86, I think, and I think that's probably why he came on out. Plus, there was seemed like a very comfortable lead, not to push it like it, just in case it was something else. But Wayne, his dad, was saying like he put so much torque on his slider maybe that it's just like his hand is just he's just in so much, I don't know, torque. I don't know what the I don't know I mean, it was just like
tightens up on it,
like he was like cramping up to it from his wrist all the way down to his hand. And
you've definitely seen that when the guys like tear the UCL or something.
Yeah, I mean, he immediately started that, and I was like, oh man, if those fingers are numb, we're done. He's done. We're done.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it wasn't. Yeah, and he looked better. And the trainer, after he was laughing, he was like, yeah, he was better after that than he was before.
Yeah. I thought too. I mean, I really thought to throw it to the pitching coaches and Rob and JJ, right? I'm assuming JJ's making most of these decisions, but I mean, I thought they handled the pitching staff well this weekend, because once Myers wasn't effective on Thursday, your whole plan is out the window, right? I mean, now you're like, okay, now I got to get, that was 2 innings I should have got out of him. Then I got to get Heiberger on, and now I'm scrambling on the back end of this game. I could bring in Osmer, but I got to get 2 more innings. I want to burn Osmer on Thursday, knowing what else is coming on the weekend. You bring in JT, who haven't really thrown a lot of innings lately, and really hadn't thrown them in late relief. But what the hell other options do you have? I mean, you've you've only got so many high leverage guys, and this is any team. I mean, this isn't a knock on the guys that are on the staff that I'm not saying, okay, you 6 guys just don't have any business throwing there. Any teams like that. I mean, you got certain guys you're going to bring in those situations, and it was new to them.
I don't know who, like you say, who you do. Just hate to harp on it, like that on that after that ground ball, Tyler would have been out of that inning. He would have been out of that inning on 8 pitches.
Right.
So then we're going to see. They were going to see him in the 6th.
Yeah.
I would think. And then it just changed things. But
it did.
I mean, errors happen. You just got to get the next guy out.
Right. Well, and the problem with that, the thing I hate about that error, I mean, I hate it for Garrett because Garrett. I mean, Garrett's having to make a routine play at shortstop where he's probably not played since high school, while your Golden Spikes semifinalist is sitting 30 feet from you staring at it. You know what I mean? Because the shift. I mean, it's like it was a routine ball, and again, I just go back to I don't get the shifting so much in that shifting is all about averages, but then you gotta pitch for how you're placing in the shift, right? You can't have Riley Quick throwing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs on the outer half to a guy you got shifted to pull, right? I mean, you just don't, right? I mean, and this one him, but it's a different night. But
remember Tommy said, you can't change the way you pitch.
Yeah,
you don't do that. And if whoever said it, that the average major league pitcher misses his spot by 11 inches, what does a college pitcher miss by?
Exactly.
I mean, so right. you're not gonna put it where it where you want it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could see from the jump on that ball that Garrett wasn't comfortable with the footwork, and the footwork at shortstop is different than the footwork at second. You got a lot more time at second. Normally, the ball is probably not hit as hard at you. It doesn't get as many hops at you. You got time to set. You got time to crow hop and do whatever. Where shortstop's a lot more about footwork, and I mean it's just a different thing there. Now it's a routine ball, and I mean he probably expects he should field it, right, Drew?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about that game is going back to JT being in there. He's been a solid relief or midweek guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got good stuff, but we need more guys who can get those leverage outs, like high leverage outs.
Exactly.
We really, and Braylon has done it. Banks will do it for an inning. Matthew has done it. Oz has done it. I think the key thing is that we really needed Blackwood, Morris, Vinatieri. We got to have. I don't know who you put in there, but I think I was really hoping we'd go Osmer for 3. But the way they hit him the next day, maybe that would have been the best idea. But just kind of needed JT. Pitched a good 8th inning. You got a double play after that, I think. Yeah. But just really needed our guy to not give up a 2-run home run there, or leave a pitch up and all that. That's just that happens. I mean, we need more of those guys. I think that's been key for us. Just throwing the same 7 guys out there or whatever.
Right. And then yesterday, I mean, we actually, the other thing I guess has been an issue. Every game, aside from the 12-2 loss to or 13-3 to Vandy and Auburn run ruled. I mean, we got run ruled a few times where you're short a couple innings in those games, and you're not getting Bo Bryans in to work out the kinks, or Layman's hadn't had enough opportunities to come in and work out. You're just not getting those guys in. It's because everything is so high leverage. There's just not a lot of medium and God knows we're not beating anyone bad enough to get to, in low leverage situations because we're winning so big. I mean, that to me has also been a little bit of an issue and why we haven't been able to develop a little more out of the bullpen, because it really felt like there were some guys there going in the year that were going to be a little more, contribute more than they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point you get as many guys in as you can in non-conference, see what they have, and then that obviously gets cut down once you get to SEC play, and then it's kind of the old adage, dance with who you brung. I mean, it's we're not going to throw guys in a situation that we just don't have any hope in them succeeding. We obviously want all the guys to succeed, but you just know that we have our list of 5, 6, 7 guys that realistically are going to be be able to contribute. And, I'm with Drew. I'd love to see Oz go for a little bit longer, but realistically, we're going to need him in other situations, most likely throughout a weekend, where Georgia last weekend was an exception, going twice.
Yeah, sure.
9 pitches in that second outing, then sure, we can live with that. But, yeah.
Yeah. I think too that, the thing, and again, getting off the pitching staff, because again, that's not the problem. I continue to go back. That's not the problem. We just can't, we don't hit worth a damn. We're hitting, are we 240 in the league? Are we under 240 at this point? Probably.
Let me check for you real quick.
Yeah. But and you kind of are, after a 30-game run, you kind of are what you are. We've said it here repeatedly. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. You're just not a good hitting team. But, what does this team got to do going into this week? Again, you got Missouri. That's a chance to get well. We'll talk about how you got to pitch that, but you got to run if you so choose to play up to your potential. Missouri, Tennessee, Texas. That's a gauntlet after that first one. We didn't hit Tennessee real well. We hadn't seen Texas yet, but I mean, I can guarantee you those guys can pitch. What kickstarts this team? What changes from a hitting standpoint? Or do you just stick to what you're doing and hope you can revamp in the offseason?
Yeah, well, I hope that Cade and LeBron get back on on track. Hodo,
a lot of strikeouts for LeBron. A lot of strikeouts lately. Yep.
Hodo actually was 4 for 11 this weekend. He was he was the leading, and then Brian at 3 for 12 was next.
Yeah,
so, I mean, and Fowler 3 for 13. Richie's had his moments. If those top four get going, and then you get something, JT and Staten have had their moments. Norton gave us a little spark.
Big up
Defensively, especially.
Kudos to him for what his play Saturday or Friday.
For sitting for so long, and then the next two games. I mean, he really played well Friday and Saturday. But like you said, we are what we are. We just got to make the best of it. Hope everybody clicks at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So standings in the SEC as the season ends up, Texas first year in gets you wins the league, 22-8 in the league. Aside from that weekend with Arkansas, they were just they're really dominant, really surprising. They're 42-11 overall. They're sitting they're either 1 or 2 in the RPI. I think Georgia probably dropped off a little bit. Give me a second. I'll pull my RPI up. There's I actually said 4 in the RPI. I guess they're right there at 22-8. So they win the league by 2 games over Arkansas, who all along I felt was probably the most complete team in the league, and I think is still, to me, probably the biggest threat in the postseason. LSU, Vandy go 19-11 each. And then you got this pack. So with Georgia at 18-12, you go Auburn 17-13, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama 16-14, Florida, Mississippi State, the comeback stories of the year, because Florida started off 1-11 in the conference. I think Mississippi State started off 2-10 or 1. They were similar to that. They weren't much better out of the gate. They're 15-15, and both so both going in this tournament, probably arguing, hey, if I win a couple of games, maybe I might be deserving of a host spot. Oklahoma 14-16, Kentucky 13-17, then the rest, including A&M, who really tailed off. I think Roger, you told me 240 in the league. Texas wins the league at 245. But I bet their ERA is in the low 3s.
Right.
And that tells you how they win it. Again, going back to that error of the margin of error between good and great in this league, with all those teams bunched up, between 14 wins and 18 wins, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. So half the league have between 14 and 18 wins, just right there in a bunch. And it's like, 2 games go one way, 2 games go another way. They're all just right there.
I mean, it talks to the depth of the league. I mean, you look at the Big Ten, you've got Oregon and UCLA, both 22-8. I mean, talk about top heavy.
Exactly.
So that's, it's what they say. It's, it's cliche for everyone to say it's a gauntlet for 10 weeks in a row, but it truly is. I mean, everyone said it, A&M's number 1 team in the country preseason, and they just get rattled all season, and they never
Right.
really pull it together. So it's
Yep.
yeah, obviously, like I said earlier, hope that we could have gotten a couple more wins. Maybe we would have been sitting 17-13 or something. But I think all of our over and unders at preseason, I think was 15.5 or 16.
It's
So
impressive. Yeah, we're right on it. Yep.
Yep, we're right there.
Didn't we all? I mean, I think we pretty much agreed 15 or
15, 16. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
and or 16 were the
Yeah.
were the
Right.
numbers. So
Right.
I
It's
don't
always
think we-
frustrating. It's always frustrating on the back of the year that when you look back and you're like, man, it could have been one more, it could have been
Yeah,
two more.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you do that to yourself, but you also don't look back at that tight one maybe that you got away with. But
right.
yeah.
But I mean, nobody, despite Megan picking it, expected us to sweep A&M before
Yeah.
the,
Exactly.
before the season ever started.
Right. Yeah.
When they struggled in midweek and we're already losing a lot, it's like, okay, we can take that series, but but sweeping, I don't think that was legitimately on anybody's mind.
Especially with a new SEC starter on Sunday, it was,
Right.
And Riley coming back, from UCL. Texas with a 3.85 ERA led the league, and that's in conference pitching, and we were 6.03 ERA. So again, a full two plus runs more per game we allowed earned than they did. So that explains why a 240 team is it 14? Is it 16 wins? A 245 teams at 22.
Right. It'd be interesting to take this is something you can't do. But take the 4 run rule games away.
That's true.
It's a whole lot better in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, it is.
It has to be because we had 4 10 run plus losses on game 1.
Yeah, no doubt. And so there's the standings. It sets up for a really intriguing, interesting SEC tournament. Tell me what you guys think is the tournament in the single elimination format. Mind you, the last few years, it hasn't seemed like the tournament has been taken into a great deal of consideration for the selection committee and how they view teams. And that was with the double elimination round. With single, is it going to be even less impactful?
It might vary from team to team, really.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, Arkansas
doesn't matter to them.
They could lose. They could lose their first game.
Yeah, doesn't
matter. Georgia, I'm sure.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
probably
top 8 because they're top 8 national seeds anyway. Right.
And somebody like Alabama. Although I think we all feel like we're safe should be safe for a host.
Yeah.
I'd feel a whole lot better winning 2 games. Losing Missouri is much.
Exactly.
Playing Missouri is as bad as anything. Yeah. But losing would be disastrous. Winning still hurts, but gives you a shot at Tennessee, who they might need to win a game. If they're not just going by name recognition. I don't trust committees, particularly after this past football season. And and Alabama baseball does not get the benefit of the doubt that football.
Exactly.
Rightfully so, but it's in this situation with all our metrics that we talked about earlier, RPI and strength of schedule, and quad 1 wins, quad 2 wins, undefeated midweek, all that. Very, very strong candidate.
Because I look at it the flip side too. We take care of business against Missouri. I think it almost has more, in my mind, agreeing with Roger, that the Tennessee then has to play their cards to figure out what they want to do to countermatch Alabama, because I think they're more on the hosting bubble, in our opinion, than we are. So,
right.
I know Roger said at the beginning of the series, obviously beginning of that Missouri weekend, losing to Missouri is inexcusable at this point. But yeah, it's playing them right now is more of a hindrance, which I am still not a fan of. Everyone making it to Hoover, no offense to South Carolina, Missouri, but they don't deserve to be there. They didn't play well enough all season. So,
Drew impact to the SEC tournament.
I feel like we win. RPI may drop down to 12, but play Tennessee, it probably won't drop if we lose. So my hope is to win 2. You need to beat Missouri with basically midweek guys. And then just throw throw it all out there against Tennessee. You may see Doyle for them. I see no reason why they wouldn't throw Doyle in that game.
Right, because he would go Thursday and
Thursday, yeah,
so
and
it's basically a 5-day, 6-day road, whatever.
So that's kind of what we're running up against. But yeah, I don't think, to be honest, we should be playing Tennessee to open up the tournament on Tuesday in that 8-9 game. That's just kind of what I believe. Which I guess, I can't remember. Actually, let's see, 5-12. I think that's what would happen in that single elimination. So yeah, that'd be a single elimination game. There's no reason to waste money to fly Missouri and South Carolina and then Texas A&M, and I can't even remember who was 13th.
Oklahoma, maybe.
Kentucky. Bottom four is. Yeah, I was gonna say bottom four is Oklahoma, Kentucky, A&M, South Carolina, Missouri.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's 12 would have been better. But it is what it is. It saves it's 2 fewer games in the tournament because they're only playing 2 games on Thursday instead of 4. So a little bit more of a window for rainouts if that happens. So don't love it, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's probably what the coaches want to do.
Do you feel though? I mean, we're seeing conflicting reports. I mean, I were like 11.7 has us out there as like I don't know, 13, 14. I mean, well, maybe that's the 16.
I saw 11.7 was 16 seed.
16.
Last I saw from D1 a couple days ago.
They have Florida as the 15 seed.
15.
D1, 11.7 does. So you got to take that into consideration. You really want Florida to lose to whoever they're playing. I think it's South Carolina, so they probably won't. But it could happen.
Good, yeah. No pitching depth.
So yeah. I don't know. It's just, you never know what the committee's thinking. And also what you're going to hear is people, well, they can't get 7 bids out of the SEC. The thing is they're going to choose, if the committee's doing their job right, they're picking teams, not conferences. So
exactly. Totally agree.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know if they will, but I mean, I think
if they do their job, they will, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. For comparison's sake, I mean, if for us, there are 6 comfortably in/host teams. I think. I mean, it's obviously Georgia, Auburn, Vandy, Texas, Arkansas, LSU. So they're out of this discussion. Then you've got us sitting at 9, the RPI. You got Tennessee at 16. You got Ole Miss sitting at 18. These are all 16 and 14 teams in the league. Here's where I think we're, again, and probably why we're sitting at 9 and they're not. We're 14 quad 1 wins. We're 6 quad 2 wins. So we got 20 quad 1, quad 2 wins between, for us. Tennessee's got 12 and 6. Ole Miss has got 16 and 1. So they, one's got 18, one's got 17. So you got 2 and 3 more quad 1, quad 2 wins than these other teams. Although Ole Miss has got a couple more quad 1 wins than we do. Makes you feel a little bit better there. The out of conference record. We've talked a lot about how strong we were in that regard. That feels to me like, again, since it's the same conference, I know we said it, Drew, but I just, they're going to probably do some of that. This committee's going to get in there and, try to, hobnob too much.
Yeah.
But realistically, those are all probably host caliber team. You think anyone wants to see Tennessee come into their ball yard as a 2?
Yeah.
No, I look at, again, Oregon, I hate to pick on them, but Oregon and UCLA both probably in discussion, and they both got 12 quad 1 wins amongst them. And you want to send Tennessee out to Oregon? I think that would be.
They'll pound them. They will destroy them.
I mean, it's so.
And D1 has Ole Miss and Georgia Tech and Ole Miss. I mean, as one, as national seeds, and Ole Miss, Alabama, and Tennessee is not. So
it's out. Right.
So that's all is 2 seeds. I mean, that's
2.
And Florida is a 2, I guess, as well, didn't they?
Florida, Mississippi State. There's going to be a lot of teams like that winning the regionals, I think.
I think so.
It's, I mean, to me, the SEC deserves 9 hosts, and you can really make a case for Florida just because talent wise, but that slow start really hindered them, so that's going to be a bit of a killer. And but if they win, I don't know. I think they should take the tournament into account. I think you have to assume they will until they don't. But so my thoughts are, beat Missouri, lose to Missouri, not going to host. Beat Missouri, probably should. And then it's 50-50 on what you beat Tennessee, 100%. I think lose to Tennessee, you're
Yeah.
probably sweating it. But hey, we're going to be in a regional somewhere. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't
you
really
are.
matter where.
Absolutely.
You got to lace
Yeah.
them up and play them no matter where you put them. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully do what we can to host. All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about our tournament run. Missouri. So it's a tricky game again. They're probably ready to put the spikes in the boxes and put the bats up and try to figure out how to start over next year. They go 3-27, even though they had a glimmer of hope last weekend against A&M with a sweep on the road. I mean, they go right back this weekend, and Mississippi State just decks them. I mean, I think they run ruled them all. Did they run rule them all three?
Then they went 25-7,
crazy.
and then
Wrecked them. I think they run ruled them at least twice. So, all right. So that's a team reeling. You got to figure, and without knowing that team, aside from seeing the 3 games up close in person, you got to figure what they've got available to throw on a Tuesday morning is should not be as competitive as what we've got. if we need to get into an 18-14 game with them, I mean, I thought, I feel a little better. How would you approach? Give me Roger. You're the pitching coach. You're JJ. What's going through your head, and how do you approach Tuesday? Knowing what Wednesday might mean for you, and I mean, that's the problem. It's a real easy job to the clacks of the world, but how do you approach Tuesday knowing you're looking ahead to Wednesday?
I'm thinking Tyler Fay
On Tuesday.
Yeah, if not him, Finateri.
Mm-hmm. So walk me through if you burn Fay Tuesday, what do you do Wednesday? Because you really think Riley would be ready to go from Friday to Wednesday?
In his mind, yeah.
I know, yeah. I just don't feel like we're there yet. I don't.
Yeah,
that's my problem with it.
Right. I know I was thinking Riley for the next game, but I wasn't counting the days necessarily.
Thursday to Wednesday. I mean, I'm sorry, Friday to Wednesday. It'd be one thing if you went Thursday.
Friday night to Wednesday morning is also.
Yeah. All
right. So let's say.
So let's rethink Tuesday.
Finateri or Blackwood
on Tuesday.
Tyler on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Riley on Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. All
Zane on Friday and just pray on.
If we
Riley back on Saturday, pull a peanut.
Well, if we win Thursday, we'd have a bye to Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it's like you go Zane Saturday. I think that's probably what should happen is Blackwood, Finateri, whoever, not Osmer.
Tuesday.
I hope, and I kind of think this will happen. I hope I'm predicting a 10-run win by us in that first game. I think we're going to be on it. I think Missouri's pitching is going to be cooked, and so if we're not just battering the crap out of the ball that day, then I think well, whatever. We just win, baby. But I think we're going to win big. So yeah, you got Fay, and then you just sell out to win that game, and use Myers, Osmer out of the pen, and if you think Fay can only give you 4, just pull them after 4, and then maybe Myers can give you 3, and then Oz 2 or something like that.
Maybe you go Myers, Maddie, Oz, because my thinking is if you can win that game Wednesday, to hell with the weekend. I mean, what doesn't matter. Hell, you can throw
throw Riley against Texas. I mean, it's just
if you Bryce Eblin, you throw him some that weekend, right? That's kind of my thought. Feels to me like you got to go loaded for bear on Wednesday, but you got to get through Tuesday without you can't be throwing Carson Osmer on Tuesday like we do midweek games a lot of times. And just
so Finateri will be my guy for Tuesday.
You go Finn. Who you go, Drew? You start Finn.
I would go Blackwood and then Finateri, and then just see what happens. I bet JT can give us at least 4, and then Finateri can be ready, and then Morris or someone like that. Right. I think those guys. I still think our bats are just going to be too much for that. I mean, our 214 hitting bats or whatever. Yeah. Or 240 or whatever. But I think we're going to beat them pretty good.
Griff, you got another thought on that on Tuesday?
I like it. If we go either one of those 2 to start and the other guy hops in, I'm with Drew. I think take care of business. Hopefully this is a situation where maybe Papio can tell them, hey guys, let's let's slow down. These guys hopefully aren't, we saw them that they didn't throw, 100-mile-an-hour gas
No.
out the gate all weekend. It's a Tuesday morning. Hopefully all the parents and the feral children will be well rested after their 11th month naps, and they'll come out of the woodworks and just take it to them. Don't make it too complicated.
Yeah, don't make it. Yeah, don't make it dramatic. Just go deal with them. I'd probably kind of lean with you guys. I mean, another thing we hadn't mentioned Bobby Alcock, who took a tough outing against Georgia. I mean, here's a guy who's started SEC games. I mean, I just feel like you got to get, if it's Alcock, if it's if it's Brian's, whoever it is, has got to get you through Tuesday. And I'm with you. I mean, if you get out there with Finn, maybe I'd probably be more comfortable with Finn out of the gate. I really liked what he looked like on that Sunday start in the series with it was at Oklahoma. Won that Oklahoma on Sunday that he won the I think it's Oklahoma. If you got Finn out there, gets you through 2-3. I mean, he's shown he can get you through innings pretty efficiently, pitch to contact and get you out. Then if you have to go JT a little bit and bridge to, Morris. I mean, we didn't say much about Morris's outing this weekend. I think, the stuff's so good. It's just, man, you get ahead 2 strikes and you start hanging balls. You hit a guy. I mean, he's got to work through that. And he's just not getting enough chances to do it. Maybe this Missouri one's a game to get well. I just think there's certain guys that are absolutely off limits Tuesday because you got to go guns a-blazing Wednesday against Tennessee because, like you said, I mean, if Lee and Doyle went last Thursday, that game's pretty damn important to them too on Wednesday, and he's a lot more ready to go than say, we can't throw Riley that day, but we can throw Faye, and I mean Faye can get you some innings, and the Faye Heiberger Myers combo can get you 7, maybe. Maybe that's how you approach it. So it's an intriguing situation given the importance of the second game, right? I mean, it's a little bit different feel. Knowing that the second game is the key, and you're just so limited on what you can throw at them. If you had to predict, I mean, is it just? Are you going to look at those top 4 who get the double buys, and that's one of those is going to win this thing?
I like Arkansas.
I think LSU loves to. Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say I think LSU always has that mindset of we're going to be in, but let's go ahead and try to win the thing to begin with. I don't think that they're going to win it. I think Arkansas's they got a lot of weapons. So they'd be my betting favorite right now.
Okay, Drew.
Yeah, I'd go Arkansas. I wouldn't. Didn't they sweep Texas a little while ago?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see
2 weekends ago.
Yeah, I think Arkansas is the 2 or the 3. Is that right?
Arkansas is the 2.
Yeah, so I go Arkansas. I should pick Alabama, but I think realistically, I'd probably go Arkansas over Texas in the final. Maybe Vanderbilt.
If we win, great, right? Our objective here is get a win or 2, or get 2, and then or 3. Yeah, Roger, you got a favorite among those top 4, or you got a dark horse in that next 4 or 5?
Probably Arkansas would be my pick. Texas kind of stubbed their toe down the stretch some. And Arkansas kind of turned it on at the end. I mean, but it just depends on how much motivation any of those have.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But with a double bye, they'd only have 3 games,
right? Yeah. Which is kind of that's basically prep for super regionals or regional.
Right. So they're getting ready for their regional and super for that with that. Right. So they Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Basically, they were Thursday, Saturday, or
Thursday. It'd be Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I think.
Yeah, they would. That's like they stay with their same rotation unless they have somebody that just needs some rest.
Yeah. Y'all know I've been an Arkansas homer most of the year. I mean, I've been saying all along I thought Arkansas was the best team in the league, and then that Texas would fade, which they never did. But Arkansas did rock them last 2 weekends ago. I'd probably go Arkansas here, much like I was kind of the LSU homer last year as the season went on. But and they they made a nice run into the regional, but got knocked out in the final game of that. So I think I'm pretty much on consensus. We got our eyes on Arkansas. There's nobody kind of up in the next tiers that are gonna. It's just too difficult a row to hoe if you got to play 4 games or 5 games to get through this. It kind of my feel. But anyway, it shapes up for a pretty interesting, pretty intriguing tournament, just because there's so many teams scrambling for spots on the next weekends. All right, let's talk about 2 scenarios, and before we wrap this up. Our team, as we go into regionals, let's assume we're in the host role, and we're one, and we've got, obviously we're going to be a 15, 16. I saw one of these projections where we were 16. I think like DBU was in our as the 2 in our region. You're gonna have a tough 2, you're gonna have a tough 3, and everybody's 4s are pretty much kind of give or take. How do you approach a regional weekend if you're a 1, if you're in Alabama, hosting in 2 weekends? Pitching wise, you're 1 against your 4.
I think I said this last week. It depends on who your 4 is. I think we could beat a 4 with Faye, and then pitch Riley against the better of the
2 or 3
seed.
Yeah.
If you're a 2 seed, traveling, I might want to win that first game, because last year I thought Hess should have started that first game, because I thought Ferone was kind of cooked at the end of the year. I don't think Faye is cooked, but I think I'd probably feel better starting Riley to open a regional if it was on the road.
Yeah.
But I think that's a tough call.
Tough call. Yeah, Griff, your thought on it?
Yeah. Just gotta, I hate to say play it safe, but you'd hate to run out Zane or do something crazy against a 4 where realistically we should be winning those games. And save the arms for what could potentially then turn into either 2 games. You got your what the pre-championship and the championship game, and then obviously if we run it the whole weekend, it's like, well, shit, we're gonna need everyone available. Something goes sideways, so it's like I want all hands on deck sort of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Good.
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. Roger, your thoughts? And this team is, when you think about it, is built pitching wise pretty well for a regional tight weekend with the way these starters get. You could get 3 good starts out of these guys.
I would look. So following what Drew said, I would probably go Faye 1 against 4, and unless it was somebody that has a legitimate Power 5 starting arm on a 4 seed that was a really a sneaky, really good 4 seed.
Jacob Myers.
Jacob Myers kind of deal. Because we were 4. What did we beat him 2-1 or something?
We pulled away late, but he was out of the game by the end of it.
So
got to him in the 5th or so.
And then 2-3, they're probably pretty close to each other. So that's, you go Riley, and then win those 2, and then have Zane to close it out, and hopefully do it in 3. But got to get the host spot, win a host spot first. Going on the road as a 2, it's a different thought.
Especially when when we're probably we're one of these ACC teams. Those are tough places to play. Clemson, FSU, and North Carolina, those types of places. That's probably where you get sent, because they tend to regionalize it a little bit.
If we're a 2, there's a 95% chance we're going to Tallahassee, because we always do. Then Florida State's not going to throw Jamie Arnold against a 4. You don't think so. You look to win the first one, and then try to match him up with Riley or Zane, and Jamie matched up for an inning at least down in early in the fall. But it's a hard one. It's a job I'm glad I don't have.
A lot to think about, and obviously that's for the next weekend. Okay, so we're sitting here on we're Sunday night, and this time next week we'll we won't know our fate. I guess they announced the top 8 seeds on Sunday night, and then the entire field
top 8 Sunday night, and then the selection show is Memorial Day at I think like 10:30 or 11 in the morning.
Okay, so in the morning on Monday. Okay,
on
so
ESPN 2, something like that.
Okay.
Get together next Monday or next Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's right. Then the regionals will kick off, by Thursday. I'm sorry, Friday by midday or mid afternoon, and into the weekend. SEC turning times. We're we got the early start. We're not 9:30. I saw Jimbo or somebody called breakfast with Bonamolo. Is pretty good. Pretty cool tagline. We go Tuesday with Missouri. I think we're right back in a 9:30 slot on Wednesday with Tennessee.
And the next one would be at 3:00 if you get through
3 in the
that.
afternoon. Yeah, if you turn around and that would be Texas, given kind of where we are in the field. So a very tough week ahead, but by far a really good opportunity, I think, for this team, because you get a little bit of a break playing Missouri. It's not going to do you good in your standings and all, but I mean, it does get you head to head with one of these teams that you're kind of being compared against in that committee, and you got to beat them. I mean, you're going to face them. You're going to face teams like that eventually. You might, it's good opportunity for the team, I think.
I will say it's always glad to be in Hoover as much as I railed on it. I'm thinking of former Alabama staffer Steve Rosen and all the nonsense that the Mount St. Mary's program is. I don't know if anyone's seen it on Twitter. If not, you should go seek it out. They said the field was unplayable. They got one game in, and then they said we can't play. The pitchers were having long toss in the outfield, and essentially with them not playing this weekend, eliminated Manhattan
end of their season,
right at the end of their season. They're not even eligible to make it to the MAC tournament. So I feel for Steve
had they won those two games, they would have made the tournament. So yeah, Stephen really feels like he got a pretty raw deal on that. So
pretty garbage move by Mount St. Mary's, if you ask me. Didn't tarp the field, didn't do anything to prep it. I mean, it was pretty.
Didn't find alternate site, which
exactly.
Which Manhattan has to do very frequently.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good. Just in closing, I mean, we kind of assessed this team a little bit earlier. I mean, we've talked about this team till we're blue in the face. Probably a best memory of the season, Roger, of the 55 game run there. You were at every one of them, by the way. Congratulations on that. I mean, 55 game run. What was the most memorable event or a game of the season?
Ohio State comeback.
Yes. Yeah. Which turned out to be against a team that ended up being just garbage. But still.
Yeah. That was incredible. Just Brian hitting those 2 3-run shots, and then Hodo, all three in the same spot, basically in right center field. Yeah. Hit a building where they were doing construction on the stadium, the football stadium. That was pretty special. I mean, it's always great to beat Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
There's been some good, a lot of
memories. Yeah.
I mean, it's UNA, but a walk off against UNA.
Yeah.
Didn't we have a walk off 10-run, like a run rule walk off?
Yeah.
On a home run, or
Hodo walked off somebody in the midweek, didn't he? Or did we?
Dell hit a midweek walk off against South Alabama.
Yeah.
That was
Snell.
Yeah. So there's been some good ones. But that sitting down there in Jacksonville, freezing to death, and just watching them run around the bases, and they were doing their very best Tennessee impersonation of
real chirpy. Yeah, real chirpy.
Very, very chirpy team, which led to the incident later on in the locker room.
Yeah, right. That AL.com discovered Alabama baseball that day.
Right. Yeah. But then, and just chip away, and then boom, boom, boom. And, just 3-run home runs. So that'll help you get 10 runs back.
That's right.
In a hurry.
That's right. Drew, you're
I would go, I was not there for the Ohio State game, but I obviously remember watching it fondly. I really think the Georgia, that Game 3 win, that was a lot of fun, because that whole weekend, the way how it all shaped up and how we were just waiting and watching with the rain and all that. But Oz coming in again and closing it out with that strikeout, that was a big time celebration for us in the stands.
That was fun.
It was fun. Griff, you have one that.
I still think, even irregardless of what A&M did, starting the season 3-0 on the road, that was huge to get that jump started. And then I know offense has had their woes, but Cade Snell, the season he's had, has just been still really, really fun to see. And then LeBron, I mean, he's had the hype coming into the season, and he's still do what he does. I mean, 69 RBIs on the season. He's, all the homers he's hit, the defensive plays that should be on Sports Center every night. I mean, he is still the real deal. That is most definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I think for me, it's probably, I mean, y'all talked about all of it, but I mean, to me, it's probably that Tennessee Friday night game. That game had such a regional feel to it. I mean, it felt just like one of those, the Troy game or the BC game, big crowd, huge throng of people in right field, just covered up. I thought it felt like we didn't get as many of those at home this year that were just that amped up like that night. And, for one reason or the Georgia was just, weather and whatnot, just could have been that way. And it just all kind of came together just right. It was, night game, big arms going at each other that night. And when Fowler makes the catch in right field to rob that homer, I mean, and then we shut it down in the ninth. I mean, that one to me, it was probably the most fun memory. And it was a typical Alabama win, right? It was kind of gutty, a little gritty. We, chipping away for runs and make a big defensive play. It was kind of what this team's been about all year. And I thought that one to me, I think, stuck with me more than any. All right. Well, hey, it was great catching you guys again. And we'll certainly, from afar at least, be trying to catch the action as much as we can this week in Hoover. Let's hope we make a nice run. Hey, I think a 2-game run. We're back here on probably Monday night talking about hosting a regional, and if not a 2-game run, we'll see. I mean, right? I mean, you can certainly go take care of business if you go win 2, but if not, we're probably going to be one of those biting our nails at the last minute and just hoping we get the good graces of the committee. So we'll see. It's upon us. Season's over. What do you know? That's the last weekly Joe. The regular season's been a great probably 14-week run. I know we did a couple maybe preseason, so it's been probably our 15, 16, not counting the extras we did. Been a lot of fun. You can catch us on all your favorite platforms. You're seeing us, obviously. You've got us on YouTube. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. They're all there. Plug them in. You probably got about 40 hours worth of Weekly Joes out there for the season and the great Weekly Joe extras we've done. So we've talked about them. Like I said, we're blue in the face, but we enjoy doing it, and we'll keep on doing it. All right, for Roger Myers, for Drew Champlin, for Griffin Smith, missed Megan tonight, missed Hunter. We'll get them again back next time. I'm Paul Graham. We will catch you next time on the Weekly Joe. Peter Slight, Campland, take us away, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully talk about our regional hosting fate. Thanks a lot, everybody. Roll Tide.
Okay.
Swing it, boys, swing for the fence. Shove it, boys, make 'em miss. Some big league chew in a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Well, it's Bama Blitz.